Welcome to the Payday with Rayray podcast, hosted by yours truly, Rachel Bell. I'm here to make your life easier as an entrepreneur and teach you everything I've learned about building multiple seven-figure online businesses. And on this podcast, I'll be giving you my best advice, trainings, and mindset shifts so you can grow your business and, most importantly, make every day your payday. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Payday with Rayray. This episode is going to be yet another compilation of all the things that you may not be aware of that are stopping you from attracting clients. This is really, really important. And although I believe in focusing on the strategies that actually do produce results, and that's what I spend around 80 or 90% of my time doing, I also think it's very beneficial to outline the most common mistakes or trip-ups that a lot of beginning entrepreneurs or new coaches make in their business, that if they just became aware of these mistakes, their business would exponentially increase, not only in revenue, but in well-being, and they would feel much more confident showing up on social media to sell their services. So today we're focusing on the mistakes and how to avoid them. And before we get into this week's episode, I do want to let you know that at the time of this recording and at the time of this release, we are open for enrollment for Online Coach Accelerator. So let me outline a little bit of what the program is and what you can expect if you choose to say yes and dive into the OCA family. If you know anything about Online Coach Accelerator, we basically specialize in helping you position yourself as an authority, build a highly engaged social media audience, get more online clients, and become influential using your social media platforms without using paid advertising or building a fancy website or spending hours and hours and hours building out a bunch of assets that you don't actually need. We focus on simplicity. That is our MO. So Online Coach Accelerator is your blueprint to growing a six-figure online coaching business, and it's basically a 90-day step-by-step course that helps you start and grow your online coaching business from scratch using social media. If you already have a coaching business, you have a couple clients, great. You are in the best position to just pour gasoline on the fire, learn our proven blueprints, our strategies, and amplify your results, 10x your client base, all the good stuff. And if you're just starting and you know exactly what type of coach you are and you know the skill sets you have to help other people improve their lives or transform some aspect of their life, we'd love to have you book an application and see if OCA is the right fit for you. So what you can do is just head on over to onlinecoachaccelerator.com, fill out the application form, book a call with my team, and we will conduct a little interview to make sure that you are the perfect fit for OCA. And we just want to get to know you better, understand where you're at in your business, how long you've been in business, what type of business you have, all that stuff. And at the end of the call, if it looks like we're both a good fit to work with one another for the next 90 days, we will offer you all the details on the investment, what it looks like to get started, how you can enroll, and what team you're going to be on, who's going to be your coach, all that stuff. So head over to onlinecoachaccelerator.com to check out the details, read a little bit more. And on that page, you'll also see some past client results and testimonials, case studies. So if you're wondering if this is going to work for you and your niche, head on over to the website and you get everything you need there. onlinecoachaccelerator.com. All right. So now that you know how to grow your business if you want to, we're going to dive into the good stuff now. The 10 things that are stopping you from attracting the clients you want, deserve, and the clients that are out there just waiting for you to stop making you goddamn mistakes. Okay, we're going to start off really, really strong. I want you to make sure that you are in a place where you can take notes and listen, or at least listen with a very open mind and open perspective, and really get ready to self-audit and self-interrogate and ask yourself, where am I stepping into this energy that's not serving me? Where am I stepping into these potholes that are preventing me from getting to the next step? And try to listen to this with an open perspective of, even though I can dismiss this and say, oh yeah, I already know that, am I actually putting it into action? Am I making this mistake at any level, even in my own mindset and my perspective of viewing the world around me and myself? So with that being said, let's start off with number 1. The first thing that is stopping you from attracting clients is being sneaky. The golden rule here is that sneaky doesn't sell. So here's the explanation behind sneakiness. If you're approaching someone with a hidden agenda energy, it is painfully obvious. Let's say that you're sliding into someone's DMs and you're so afraid of them finding out that you're trying to sell them something that you avoid it at all costs, even though that is exactly what you're actually trying to do, right? But sometimes we focus so much on trying not to become salesy that we end up just coming off like sneaky, and that's not any better. This is the main reason why lots of coaches are ghosted or ignored or met with aggression from potential leads. If you're actively trying to hide your intention of selling to prospects, it will come across disingenuous and inauthentic, which are major turnoffs. The best way to go about shifting this is to simply be direct and view it like dating. So going back to a dating perspective, if you've never dated before, here's a little rundown of how it generally works, at least in my experience. Let's say that you're looking for a long-term commitment. Okay, you're looking for a perfect fit for your lifestyle and your love life. Doesn't that sound nice? And let's say that you are using a dating app to go about finding this perfect fit for your lifestyle and your romantic life and all your hopes and dreams. You're going to come across some prospects that you might like to get to know better. Maybe they are the perfect fit, but you'll never know unless you slide in and ask a couple of questions to gain depth and clarity around who they are and what they believe. So you have a couple different options in how you want to do this. Number one is you can approach them with a lot of fear and insecurity and nervousness and trying not to seem like you're into them, even though it's obvious that you are, because why would you message them if you weren't? Or you can come across being really direct, really clear, and really open to a conversation about what it is that you want and discover what it is that they want. So when you're direct messaging or marketing to prospects and you want to be direct, you don't want to be sneaky, but you don't want to be salesy, the key is to remember that this is a relationship. And so the best way to go about this is to introduce yourself in the way that you'd like to be thought of. Hi, I'm Rachel. I help coaches create six-figure online coaching businesses, and I specialize in helping them optimize their social media following, create content that sells, and learn how to be more confident when it comes to sales. Is there anything in that framework that you'd be interested in? Does that interest you at all? Is this something that you'd find helpful for your business? I'm creating some trainings. Do you want me to send them over? Just leading with value and leading with utility that someone can actually use and that's relevant to them is going to be the best way to start the know, like, trust relationship factor in their understanding of who you are and whether or not you're a trustworthy source of information. But being sneaky and trying to come across like you're not quote unquote salesy is just as bad as being direct and salesy and a little bit too pushy. So there's a middle ground there, and it requires a certain amount of EQ for you to be aware of. And if you don't know what EQ is, it's basically emotional quotient, I think is the technical term, but it's emotional intelligence at its simplest form. Basically, how do you navigate a conversation or a social situation being in complete empathy and coherence with the other person and guiding that conversation or that interaction to a goal that is both beneficial and clear for both parties. So if you don't know about EQ, just simply Google it. It's one Google away, and it's a great read to become more aware of and kind of put a formula or a framework around what you might be doing right or what you might be doing wrong right now in your social media prospecting efforts. The second thing that is stopping you from attracting clients is that clients can smell your fear. So again, we're going to go back to the dating world because prospecting is pretty much just like dating. And as you guys probably know, with more and more coaches or more service providers coming online to provide services, there's a lot of saturation that can occur. And there's a lot of bad examples that can be set in this industry as well. So we're going to bring it back to the dating world. How would you approach someone who doesn't know, like, or trust you yet? Would you lead with something like, hey, I'm looking for a husband. Please sign this application form and I'll reach out to see if you're a good fit. Or before even talking to them would you present yourself in an indirect or insecure style? Or would you spend a bit of time navigating the small talk and the rapport and the depth and identify whether or not, again, this person is a good fit from a heart-centered place of power? You're starting a relationship, so the key is to act in accordance with patience, thoroughness, and directness, and be open to rejection. The reason why clients can smell your fear is because a lot of times you're approaching clients with this people pleaser, submissive, passive energy that is just as repulsive to some prospects as too pushy or too hard ass or too closey, salesy. So marketing and sales is very hard in the beginning for a lot of new coaches because it basically reopens all of our psychic wounds of being rejected and being humiliated. And for that reason, a lot of people don't practice the fundamentals of making sales. They want to do all the pretty things, which I'll dive into in a second, like all the shiny objects, instead of actually talking to other humans. But that's part of clients smelling your fear. When you're not open to conversation, you're not open to being rejected, and you're not open to making it clear what you stand for and why you're talking to someone else, that's fear. And they can smell it. They can smell it better than a shark can smell blood in the water. I'm telling you. But marketing and sales is the backbone of understanding how to navigate real conversations with your ideal client avatars in their lives, their values, their dreams, their visions, their pains, their fears, their goals, and organically guide them to a solution. So if clients can smell their fear because you're being a little bit too people-pleasing, you're worried what they think of you, that's not leadership. And unfortunately, although we want to stay in that comfortable energy of not stepping on anyone's toes and not being too this or too that, you need to focus on being yourself and being secure and centered in your leadership style and being direct about what you can offer and if they're a good fit and if they are interested in what you're selling. That's the most attractive thing that you can do as a service provider. The third reason you're not attracting clients right now is that you're watered down. Say it with me. You're watered down. Doesn't feel good to be watered down. But when you try to help everyone, in quotation marks, everyone, which I've heard so many times, right? Like when we're mentoring students inside of Online Coach Accelerator, the people with the biggest hearts say, I can help everyone though. I want to help everyone. Anyone can benefit from what I'm saying. And I resonate on such a deep level. Yes, I wish the whole world would tune into my content, let me tell you that. But I also know that if I stray from focusing on who exactly my audience needs to hear what I'm saying right now, that I would be watering down my message. I would be more vague. I would be more generalized. And therefore, I wouldn't be potent. I wouldn't be relevant. I wouldn't be having the sense of intimacy with you in your life and giving you the information that genuinely provides a transformation in a short period of time. I would be more like disconnected and diluted with broad, vague messaging. So if you want to inspire action and make sales, you need to narrow down on one type of person who would, number one, get the best results from your methodologies, and number two, who you would enjoy working with most. And those two elements are very important to keep in mind when it comes to niching. Number one, you definitely want to make sure that you're working with people who actually can get results from your program or your offer, your services, so that they can produce a testimonial, a case study. You can actually have a good reputation with your brand and therefore create a more cohesive referral system of leads just coming in because people are talking about how good your service is. So when you're trying to help everyone, remember you're not helping anyone. And that's the hardest thing to come to terms with when you're a new coach because you're so excited about everything that you can offer. And it's really scary to niche down. But niching down is not a suggestion. It's a mandatory stepping stone for success. And being watered down is a very quick and deadly way to have your brand fizzle out and die because nobody wants to learn from a boring, vague, generalized source of information, especially if they're looking for a very specific transformation and they're looking for a leader who understands exactly what their life is actually like and what their problems are and how to solve them, someone who's actually walked the path. If everyone just wanted information in a very generalized and broad perspective, they would just Google the answers. Google is free. It has a bunch of amazing information, but the challenge with Google is that there's no cohesive framework to the entire transformation that someone's oftentimes looking for. So it's our job as leaders and as people who promote open thinking and want to guide people to transformation to provide the roadmap to their success. And that takes knowing, number one, what's their point A and what's their point B, and what are the specific milestones that they need to achieve in order to get to the other side of their transformation. So don't be watered down. Reason number 4, you are not attracting clients right now, is that you are a slave to your passion. This one's going to hurt for some of us. When you're a slave to your passion, here's what I'm talking about. By definition, the word passion means a strong and uncontrollable emotion. Is that really what you want as the foundation of your business? If it is, more power to you. But a lot of people start business for predictability, for controlling their income, controlling their amount of freedom that they can achieve in their life. And passion is a beautiful thing to have. And it's a beautiful way to get a pulse on what you love and what really lights you up. And there are so many benefits to being a passionate person. I will say that the most successful students inside of OCA are also the most passionate. But there are also equally important distortions to be aware of when it comes to following your passion. If you're more concerned with your following of your passion, you will be a slave to your own evolution. Meaning how this normally plays out is that you're constantly pivoting, starting, quitting, restarting, and then searching for the perfect idea, the most quote unquote aligned idea for your business. So you might switch your niche like 3 or 4 times within a month and just be constantly pivoting to find something that you really, really are passionate about instead of finding out what you're really good at doing and what you know you can provide results doing time after time after time after time. So here's a spoiler alert. You aren't meant to do your passion. You're meant to live your passion. And a lot of people get this mixed up. And there's so many beautiful quotes out there in the personal development world saying, if you do your passion as a job, you'll never work a day in your life. Let me tell you right now, I'm pretty passionate about what I do and I work my ass off. So there's that. And that's my opinion. Okay. I know that there's going to be certain people who hear this and they're going to be like, wow, that puts everything into perspective for me. I can see that I have been slave to my passion and just chasing it around like a dog chasing its tail. And there are other people right now who are listening and like, nope, I totally think that my passion is exactly what I should be following, no matter how much money it produces. And wherever you're at on that spectrum, I would just ask you to consider, is it working for you right now? And if it's not, how long has it not been working for you? And what could you shift or change to produce a different outcome that you actually want? And what a beautiful perspective is the apprenticeship mindset. There will be a certain time in between childhood or adolescence and adulthood where if you're learning a trade or a specific skill, and marketing and business is a specific skill, you'll have to restrict the amount of skills that you're learning to become a master at it. If you have a wide focus instead of a deep focus, your progress with learning something to mastery level will be restricted as well. But if you are focusing on building a business and you're passionate about the process of building a business, you'll never have to pivot or change something that's actually working simply because you've lost your fire for it. And that's a tremendous gift. And I'll also say that, talking about niching and offering, like it doesn't exactly give me a lady boner, but what it does do is it creates a massive shift and transformation in people's lives when it comes to them creating freedom for themselves. And that's what I'm really passionate about. So it's more about being passionate about your mission in life or your vision in life rather than the medium that gets you there. So yes, your business and your interests will shift and transform over time. But if you do want a rock solid business that provides the stability and predictability that you're after, you must not allow uncontrollable emotion, aka passion, to be the master of your business. So the next thing that is preventing you from attracting clients is not understanding the influencer versus entrepreneur dilemma. Let me explain the difference between influencers and entrepreneurs and why in today's age they are actually quite intertwined with the most successful personal brands and how you can look at it from a more high level. Influencers, and by the way, when I'm reading this to you, when I'm speaking these words to you, I want you to self-identify which camp you normally spend your time on when it comes to presenting yourself on social media to your prospects. Influencers create content to share their personal lives, their hobbies, their friends, their habits, their purchases, and create content based on what they feel like sharing. With an influencer, audience growth is the main focus. Sales is a byproduct. They focus on going wide instead of deep. And because audience growth is the main focus, they normally resort to appealing to the lowest common denominator of the consciousness of their audience, meaning products, services, aesthetics, things like that are the main focus of why someone would tune in. It's more of a surface level tuning in rather than a depth. But an entrepreneur or a thought leader creates content to share value, heal pain points, create compelling future visions, and create content based on what the ideal client needs to hear. Sales is the main focus and audience growth is a byproduct of those sales. So they focus on going deep instead of wide. So in order to make these two things work in harmony, because there's so many benefits of having an understanding and an application of both mindsets, you need to have an understanding of what makes influencers captivating to a loyal audience, but you also need to have the focus and the ruthless alignment of an entrepreneur in order to stay in highest service to one thing, which is your ideal client avatars. The sixth reason why you're not attracting clients is that you have a wide focus instead of a deep focus. So like I mentioned in the last point about influencers having a wide focus and entrepreneurs having a deep focus, here's how I want to outline this for you. Many coaches fall victim to believing that in order to get sales and make consistent 6 or 7 figures per year, they need to start out by diversifying their content distribution. They spend an ungodly amount of time trying to be active on Pinterest, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, email list, all the things. And in the process of focusing on distribution, basically getting a bunch of content out there to everywhere at the same time, all at once, instead of establishing proof of concept, they drain their energy and focus on doing, quote unquote, all the things instead of focusing on the most direct, logical, and simple way to secure sales. And for clarity, the most simple way to produce sales on an ongoing basis is usually through deep relationships, a strong network, referrals, and a smaller niche down community, and nurturing that community with a lot of intention. Some of the students inside of Online Coach Accelerator, for example, have been able to produce 10K months with anywhere from like 380 followers to 500 followers, maybe up to 1,000 followers. Those with bigger audiences and more experience with nurturing that audience are obviously able to pull more of a profit from their audience if they followed the blueprint. But it goes to show that you need a very small community and a lot of intentionality to create a large amount of profit, not necessarily a wide audience. So, the 7th thing that is preventing you from attracting clients is chasing shiny objects instead of sales. So, as I mentioned before, there are so many shiny objects and so many distractions calling out to you like tempting sirens. They're like, ooh, download my proven webinar script, or create a beautiful personal brand, why don't you? Ooh, my color palette, don't you want a color palette for your business? And unfortunately, in the world of business marketing, everyone wants to shove a shiny object or a tactic down your throat. But as a growing entrepreneur, you need to be intentional and decisive, observant, and very patient instead of chasing these shiny objects and going crazy trying to download every ebook that you can get your hands on. So, when you focus on one method or one signature methodology for 1 year, and you do not break your momentum, and you do not switch your niche, and you do not change it, or change your idea, or switch ideas just because of a shiny object, it will 9 out of 10 times work. And that was the major tipping point in my business success. For nearly 4 years, I was trying to get my footing in the entrepreneurial world, and I would see an idea from, the start to midway, and I would build out a website for it. I would build out a new personal brand. I would make a couple social media posts about it. And then if I didn't get instant results, I would say, oh, this isn't really working. And in a society and in an environment in business marketing that basically promotes instant results, it's important to also be realistic and have a high level perspective around where you're starting from and what you really need to get down and master before you expect these results to come into fruition. So the perfect analogy that I like to give is that of a tree. When you're looking at a tree and you're like, oh, that's a beautiful tree, you're not really seeing the hundreds of years or the dozens of years that it's taken to grow into that form. First, it starts out as a seed. You are the seed right now if you're just starting. And as a seed, the first thing you need to do is get the right nutrients so that you can not sprout, but grow your roots into the ground to collect more nutrients and information from your environment. Then once you have the roots in the ground, then you're able to sprout. And then you're able to grow, and eventually you're able to bear fruit. And if you try to rush this process with chasing shiny objects here and there, your overall progress is going to be significantly slowed down. So, anything will work in business, but nothing will work for you if you neglect the power of deep focus on a singular method. All right? So the 8th thing that is stopping you from attracting the clients that you want and deserve is that you have no authoritative presence. Authority is everything. Leadership is everything. And as a leader, as someone who promises to create a transformation in people's lives and lead them to a solution, you have to understand that you are representing the fully actualized and embodied version of what your ideal client avatar dreams of becoming. So you need to invest in having the unshakable sense of self, learn how to express yourself clearly and articulately, and stop hiding your gifts and expertise. And as a personal brand, you are simply playing and optimizing an affiliate character to promote your business. That's basically the role you play, which means you need to have an understanding of what your natural gifts are and how to leverage them to become a trusted source of information. And to find your proven to sell personal brand archetype, you can also access this by downloading my free Instagram story sales course. The URL that you need to go to is igstorysales.com. And if you want to download some notes that I've taken for you on this episode, at the end of the episode, I'll give you a link to do that. And that houses the link to the free Instagram story sales course as well. All right, the 9th reason why you are not attracting clients right now is that you are focused on being clever rather than clear. This is a golden rule that governs marketing as a whole, especially when we're talking about direct response marketing. When it comes to compelling content or compelling marketing or a compelling personal brand, you must remember that a confused mind always says no. So instead of packing in complex vocabulary and trying to prove your intelligence and being all poetic and artistic and mysterious instead of clear, you are limiting the amount of absorption and understanding your prospects can gain from you. So remember, the rule is clear over clever always. And the 10th and final reason that you may not be attracting clients right now, and this might be the most important point of all, is that you are confusing vehicles with destinations. So I see a lot of people on Instagram trying to sell the vehicle to transformation as the end result. And just to distinguish vehicles from transformation is that a transformation is the point B. Like if they're starting from point A, what is the complete transformation or the end result that they're looking for? The vehicles are all the ways that you get them to reach that transformation. Okay, so for example, I see people on Instagram trying to sell the vehicle to transformation as the end result, and they'll say something like, "Hi, I'm a surrender coach." Because as the expert, as a surrender coach, you understand that surrender and allowance and presence and non-attachment and being in the flow of life, that's the answer. Like that's the good shit that people are actually in need of. And it's true, it's the end result or the real goal of most journeys is surrender. But nobody's going to hire you just to learn how to surrender. That's not the actual reason why they would surrender. You following me? Normally, people attach to a goal. For example, I want to make more money. I want to get married. I want to build a business. I want to lose weight, all that stuff. And then your job as a coach is to over-deliver by teaching them the healthiest, most aligned, and in integrity pathways to get to those goals using surrender. So basically, you redefine their paradigm of how to achieve through providing the vehicles, like surrendering, to their ultimate goals. Now, I know that that was rapid fire, and I know that you might be curious about some of these points and want me to go into more elaboration on one of these. So if you have any questions on the podcast, all you have to do is hit me up on Instagram at Rachel Bell and send me a DM asking me to elaborate on whatever it is that you are still confused on or something that you want me to go deeper into. And I'd be happy to do that for you on a future episode. But those are the 10 things. For a quick recap, number 1, sneaky doesn't sell. Number 2, clients can smell your fear. Number 3, you're watered down. Number 4, you're a slave to your passion. Number 5, you don't understand the influencer versus entrepreneur dilemma. Number 6, you have a wide focus instead of a deep focus. Number 7, you're chasing shiny objects instead of sales. Number 8, no authoritative presence. Number 9, you're being too clever and not clear. Number 10, you're confusing vehicles with destinations. All right, everyone. That is today's episode. That's your Payday with Rayray. So if you want some cohesive notes, I know that you guys are note takers and you're also money makers, and I respect you for that dearly. I get a lot of screenshots or Instagram stories tagging me and showing pages and pages of notes that you guys are taking from this stuff. And what I've started doing is compiling little PDF overviews and outlines so that you can just download them straight to your computer and put them into a little document or a folder on your phone with all the information here that I've outlined. So if you want access to that PDF download with all the notes you need, go to paydaywithrayray.com, and in the show notes as well, inside that PDF, you are going to be able to find the link to my Instagram story sales course to find your personal brand archetype that's proven to sell. With that being said, everyone, remember to check out onlinecoachaccelerator.com if you know that you want to grow your coaching business and be mentored by me and my team for the next 90 days. I hope to see you inside. And until next Friday, have a great payday, and I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did find it super valuable, you just want to share it with the world, make sure you screenshot, post, and tag me on Instagram so I can stalk your profile and we can connect more. And to get notified on the next episode here on Payday, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes so you never miss a beat. Get out there, secure the bag, and I will see you next payday.